Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about all of the must-have apps for readers. So once again, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I am so happy you decided to click on this video. I am really excited about today's video because I am going to talk about some apps that not everyone's heard of that really enhance the reading experience for me, or are just really good for access to books. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the number one app that I use daily for keeping track of the books that I read and things I want to read and what my friends are reading is Goodreads. This is one that most people in the bookish community use and know, if not use. It is owned by Amazon now, so I know that is a turnoff to some people, and I've tried other things, but for me, this is the only thing that really I find myself being consistent with as far as keeping it updated. It helps me keep track of my reading challenges, and it's really just a great app. It has so many different books loaded in, I mean millions and millions. So you can really find any book you've read or are reading on it and just keep track of it. I love the community feature as well. Just being able to have friends and see what your friends are reading and whether they rated something well. And you know, sometimes it's really nice because you might find a reviewer that you don't actually know them, but they tend to have really similar opinions, and so you can go see what they enjoyed and find new books that way. So I really like it. Again, not everyone's cup of tea just because of the Amazon connection, but for me personally, it works really well, and I like following what I see on Goodreads. The next one that I definitely recommend for all readers is Pango Books. This is a book sales app. I have used this from the first time I heard about it. My husband actually got an ad for it on his Instagram like a year or so ago, and which is weird because he doesn't really read at all. But anyways, I was like, hey, what is that? Looking over his shoulder, being a creeper. And I was like, send me that. And I thought this was just absolutely amazing. I actually have a reel that I will repost here as a short about how it's so easy to sell your books on there. So as I said, it's a sales app. They make it so simple to list your books for sale on their app. You just have to scan the barcode on the back and then enter in like just a couple of details, and they do the rest. When your book sells, you just have to package it up. They send you the shipping label. You just have to print it out and stick it on there and drop it off at the post office or in any of the blue USPS mailboxes, and that's it. You get your money pretty quickly. They do take a small cut, but they're very upfront with you about like what they're gonna take, so you know exactly how much money you're getting, and you can then transfer it to your bank account. And I generally leave mine in there for a while because when I do start to like look for a new book that may be a book club pick that I don't own, you can almost always find something on there used, and it's always gonna be a little cheaper, and it almost feels like you're getting it for free when you have a credit. So that works out really well for me. Sometimes books end up going for sale a little bit cheaper than I would have liked to sell them at, but honestly, I live in 500 square feet with another person and 2 cats. I don't have room to keep all of the books that I read, even if I really enjoyed them. I'm not a person that rereads books often, so for me, it just makes sense to get rid of some after I've read them if it was just okay, or I just don't see myself really ever wanting to talk about or read this book again. It's a great way to resell books, and I have had great success with it. I think they are really fair, and I highly recommend Pango Books. And again, I will post that short right after I film this. The next app that I think is a must-have for readers is Scribd. So this is a subscription app. It's $11.99 a month, and it is sort of comparable to Kindle Unlimited, but I personally think it's a lot better than Kindle Unlimited, which I suppose is a matter of opinion based on what you read. I know that a lot of Kindle Unlimited books tend to be romances, a lot more of the spicy kind of stuff, which is just not my scene. So I've had Kindle Unlimited, I've tried it, and it's just not necessarily, for me, worth the price because I just don't use it that much. Every now and then I would be like, oh, this is on Kindle Unlimited, awesome. but it happened so rarely that it was just not worth the $10 a month for me. Scribd is basically the same sort of thing. You pay $11.99 a month and you have access to all of their files, but they have so much. It's audiobooks, it's ebooks, they have like podcasts, they have all kinds of stuff. And the best part for me is that they have new stuff. They don't have to wait until a book is like losing popularity to be available to everyone. There have been so many books that I've tried to get from the library and they end up on like a 6-month waiting list, and I go to Scribd and there it is. I especially love this for audiobooks. It's so convenient. I just love the fact that books are just always there. I was recently sent The Half Moon by Mary Beth Keane by the publisher, and I really want to read it, but I try not to take hardcover books on my trips, and I'm starting a trip tomorrow. So I wanted to see if I could get the audiobook, and it's in Scribd, and it literally came out like 2 weeks ago. So I think that's awesome. It's really convenient, and I've had so much luck finding exactly what I want on there. The only downside I will say is that for their ebook selection, they are not compatible with a Kindle. So if you tend to read on your phone or on an iPad, you're fine because you can download the Scribd app on those things. But if you use like a true Kindle from Amazon, it's not compatible. It has pros and cons. I mean, for me, it's totally worth it. Even if I never read a single book on it and it was just for the audiobooks, it's definitely worth it for me. So you just kind of, I guess, have to see if that is something that would benefit you if you listen to a lot of audiobooks, or if you always read on your iPad anyways. This is definitely something you gotta check out. I do think they have a free trial. If I can find a link, I will link it down below. Scribd, it's awesome. The next app that I recommend is Libby. This is a library app, so you can sign up, or if you're already signed up with your local library, you just enter in some information like your library card number and like a PIN. It's all pretty simple to figure out. And it's just a library app, so you can get audiobooks, you can get ebooks. You can't like put holds on physical books, but I personally only read ebooks and audiobooks from the library. So it's pretty great in my opinion. There's also a few libraries that you don't have to live in that county to be able to have access to their whole collection. I know one for a fact is Broward County, Florida. So if you just type in like Broward County, Florida library card into Google, it will pop up and you can sign up without having an address there. So that's pretty cool because they do have a great selection. And it's just really nice that, you know, they open that up to everyone, because there's definitely some places in the US that don't have as much access to just that reading material in general. So I love the accessibility that comes with using Libby, and of course I love supporting local libraries. We love to see it. The next app I want to recommend is called Bookle. This is really great for people that are just trying to make time in their life for reading. So I personally don't have a problem with making time for reading. It is like one of my only hobbies that I make time for constantly. So this I really enjoyed using when I was kind of just getting back into becoming like a really solid reader and not just like a book every 2 months. So it's an app that lets you time your reading. You set up a goal for the week or the day and you press start reading and it will just time you while you're reading. And if you need to take breaks, that's cool. And if you finish your session, you just press end. And it's like very encouraging. It doesn't make you feel bad if you don't hit your goal, which I don't know. I get that you want to hit your goal, but I always hate it when apps yell at me if I don't live up to their expectations. And I'm like, you are an app, you don't know me. So you can scan quotes, and so they'll be like highlighted in the app for you. You can measure like how many pages read in what time. It helps you know like what is your average speed of reading a book. And it's just really cool. I am kind of a stats nerd, so I love to kind of see those stats on stuff. You know, you can put ratings in, and something that's maybe silly, but that makes me super motivated is when apps have like badges or achievements. And this definitely does. It is so fun for me when I can see that like I've gotten a new achievement, and they give you templates for posting like Instagram stories saying like, look what I did, I finished this book. And it's just a really fun app. There's a premium version and a free version. I've always just had the free version, and I think that's probably enough. There's some ads, I think, but it's a really good app. Even if you don't think you might need it for the daily reminders to read or whatnot, still fun to check out, and I like all the stats it comes with. And speaking of stats, my last app recommendation for readers is Storygraph. Now, this is not an app that I currently use, and I'll tell you why. It is very similar to Goodreads, except it's far more focused on like you as a reader versus reviewing for others and for community and like finding new books, in my opinion. I've tried to use it the last couple years on, the first of the year, I'm like, all right, we're gonna do Storygraph this year. Between that and between Goodreads, I just can't keep up with them. And the fact that I kind of am always reading 3 books at a time at any given time, it just became like a lot for me to like try to keep up with. But Storygraph is really neat because you can do the same thing as Goodreads where you can track your pages, you can track like what format were you reading, and then once you finish, in addition to writing a review if you want to, you can write, was this fast-paced or slow-paced? Was this plot or character-driven? Which is good if you're really, trying to remember this book, and if someone asks you about it in the future and you don't remember, because that always happens to me, you can look back at it and like really know what to do. There's also a section that I really appreciate that's for content warnings, and there's just a bunch of boxes to check, and that can be really helpful to others who maybe want to read this book but aren't sure if something would be triggering to them. There is not anything like that on Goodreads, which I think would be a great addition, but nevertheless. Storygraph is also really cool come the end of the year because they put out like an awesome like Spotify Wrapped similar sort of thing. It's just really cool, and every year I'm jealous of everyone else's, and I always say I'm gonna choose Storygraph next year, and then by like the middle of January I've fallen off the wagon. So I think though that you should try it. I think there's so much to enjoy about Storygraph, and be better than me because it's a great app. So those are all the apps that I think you must have as an avid reader. I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching this. I would love it if you would subscribe or give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I will link all of these apps down below. Once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!